Hi, everybody. My name is Caitlin Kavanaugh, and the pamphlet that I worked on and the disability I chose was learning disability. So I'm going to tell you guys about what I included in the pamphlet and other examples and stuff that are not included in the pamphlet, and going on into a little bit more depth about different things here as well. So the learning disability, by definition, is learning disabilities are neurologically based processing problems. These processing problems can interfere with learning basic skills such as reading, writing, and math. But they can also interfere with higher level of organization, and planning and abstract reasoning, long-term memory, and attention span. Learning disability is also known as like an umbrella, with many disabilities beneath it. Types of these learning disabilities would be auditory processing disorder, dyscalculia, I don't know how to say that yet, dyslexia, dysgraphia, language processing disorder, nonverbal learning disabilities, visual, perceptual, and visual motor deficits. Related disorders, but are not considered a learning disability, would be ADHD and dyspraxia. Those ones often are put under the category of learning disabilities, but they aren't related. They aren't underneath the category of a learning disability. So, being that there are so many different specific learning disabilities under learning disabilities, it was kind of hard to come up with answers to the questions regarding the pamphlet, because so many of them weren't, I couldn't make it as specific to that specific learning disability. So that was kind of a challenge for me. But common characteristics, like things to look for in your students, that is like short attention span, poor memory, difficulty following directions, poor reading and writing ability, and then eye-hand coordination problems, difficulties in sequencing, disorganization with other sensory difficulties. So for a way that our students in early childhood special ed, that you can maybe as an early identifier, they might have delays in cognitive development, and then we teach, even, and this can be seen, I saw this in my student teaching, that if we teach a student over and over again, and they still just aren't getting it, sometimes that can be an early indicator that a child's going to have a learning disability. But typically, learning disabilities aren't diagnosed until the kids until they're age 7. So for early childhood, these are just a few things that we kind of look forward to, and is what one of my mentoring teachers gave me advice about, is cognitive development in our younger kids is something that really sticks out. And then from my mentoring teacher as well, she said that the Mullen test used to be given quite often, and now it's no longer given, but that also used to show high correlation between the test results and if a student was going to have a learning disability later in life, and how to provide interventions at that young age. For the 5 levels of 5 main areas of development, for social, emotional, difficulty socializing in a young child, they'll have difficulty socializing, low tolerance to frustration that might be more susceptible to behaviors. Language and literacy may have difficulty expressing themselves and understanding others. For cognitive, may struggle with memory and auditory processing. Physical, I put this as not applicable, is not applicable to this, because physical, I took it as things that a student might struggle with physically, and for learning disabilities, this is all inside the brain, so I put NA. But sensory area, if there's something else, somebody please let me know. Sensory area, doesn't pay attention, can't sit, bumps into other kids, Too many people in the room might trigger a behavior. Just things to look out for as well that we see typically in our kids that are younger. Major services needed will depend on the specific learning disability that the student is diagnosed with. But again, if there's early indicators, there's things that we can do for early intervention to help the kid along, even though they haven't turned age 7 yet. Medications used. No medications are used for learning disabilities because there's no cure. Teaching strategies. I put on my pamphlet a couple, I just picked out a couple of specific learning disabilities, and then I put ways to help that specific learning disability and things to do. So for example, I put language processing disorder, to speak slowly and clearly and use simple sentences. Again, for our early childhood students, we're going to be rearranging our the way that we're talking to our students in ways for them to understand, but it might be pretty simplex sentences. And for resources for parents, there's a whole association regarding learning disabilities. So I put that on there. But then there's a few books about it. And yeah. So thank you for watching this video. I apologize, Professor Darris, that this is late. Multiple reasons as to why, but here it is. So thank you for watching. Bye.